There are 5,760 tiny frogs sitting in a warehouse doing nothing. And every second they sit there, they are losing you money, they are hemorrhaging value. I can hear them depreciating. It sounds like a kazoo dying.
Okay, I ordered 1 gross of enamel charms. 1, a gross is 12 dozen, which is 144, which is a completely normal number of tiny frogs to own. And then the invoice said, minimum order 40 gross, and I panicked and clicked yes. The little countdown timer was right there. Capy bought some charms. Capy needed a hobby that wasn't the hot spring. This is that hobby. It is going fine. Baxter defined fine.
Fine? Nothing about this is fine. You have 144 times 40 of these things. I did the math on the drive over, and I threw up in a gas station, and it was worth it because someone had to feel something about this.
The frogs are calm. The frogs and I have that in common. So a charm costs 11 cents wholesale. I sell it for $1. That's a margin of 11 cents? No. $1? The margin is 89 cents, and if I stare at this spreadsheet any longer, I am going to become one of the frogs. Capy does not understand margins. Capy has decided this is a strength.
Let me explain margins, okay? Because this is my entire personality. You buy low, you sell high. The difference is the margin is your lifeblood. And right now, your lifeblood is trapped in a shipping container marked assorted amphibians. Do you feel nothing?
I put up 1 folding table by the river. I made a small sign. The sign said, charms, $1, or don't. I thought that was fair. It was very fair. It was in retrospect too fair, and that is where everything went wrong. And I would like the record to reflect I stayed calm the entire time. I always stay calm. That's not a technique. That's just my face.
Picture the riverbank at market hour. A dozen trinket stands, each one selling charms for $3 shiny. Awnings bright, tip jars ready. And downstream, 1 folding table, 1 cardboard sign, and 1 capybara sitting behind it, like a monk who wandered into a flea market by mistake.
He undercut everyone. Every trinket stand on that riverbank was selling charms for $3. And this serene rodent rolls up with $1 and a shrug and says, or don't, and the whole market just folded. I have never seen anything so beautiful or so illegal.
It was not illegal. I asked a lawyer, and then I asked a duck, and both of them said different things, so I averaged them. The other vendors came to me very upset. So I did the polite thing. When someone is upset, you help them. I bought their inventory, all of it, at their price. They seemed relieved. That was the last part that made sense. Then they had money and no charms, and I had charms and a folding table, and somehow that meant I owned the whole river. Nobody explained this to me. It just happened. Politely.
Let me be extremely clear about what happened here. A meerkat does not get emotional about supply chains, but Capy bought out the competition to make them stop crying, and in doing so, achieved total vertical integration of the riverside novelty jewelry sector by accident. And I need to sit down.
Percival needs to sit down. Percival has been standing this whole time out of principle. I never asked him to run my numbers. He just does it. It's a compulsion. I find it soothing, the way you'd find a distant thunderstorm soothing.
He controls the frogs now. He controls the hearts. He controls the suns. The little sun charms. There's a sun line. Do you understand what he's built? 1 capybara has all the frogs, all the hearts, and all the suns. He's a weather system.
Capy built a monopoly. Capy did it by being nice. The frogs remain unbothered. So do the suns. Everyone else is the one having a moment.
I ran the numbers on his behalf because someone had to. And Capy Enterprises now holds 94% of local charm distribution, which is a market share so dominant, it is technically a public utility. And he priced it all at $1. It's a rounding error wearing a crown.
I told him he could charge whatever he wants. He said $1's fine. Wait, I said that. I'm quoting myself now. That's a bad sign. Anyway, $1's fine.
I wanted to cry. I was going to cancel my subscription to Being Alive. I have watched hostile takeovers with more mercy than this dollar. He has the leverage of a small nation and the ambition of a napping houseplant, and it's destroying me.
And then, drawn by the scent of an undervalued asset, a mallard in a very confident blazer waddled down the riverbank. He did not see a folding table. He saw a legacy brand. He saw generational memories clipped to a wrist. He saw, somewhere in the middle distance, a fee. This is a lifestyle asset. Charms are not jewelry, they are wearable memories. They are tiny promises you clip onto your wrist, and you, sir, own the entire memory supply of this waterfront. I could sell this as a legacy brand for 7 figures, and the fee for that is also a feature.
There is no fee. He said there is always a fee. I said $1's fine. We have now said $1's fine so many times it stopped being a price and became a lifestyle. Capy is at peace with this.
$1. $1. Sir, you are sitting on beachfront intellectual property and pricing it like a gumball, and every fiber of my commission is screaming, but I have to respect it. I have never respected anything less, and I have never respected anything more.
The buyers lined up anyway. Word got out that the calm capybara had every charm on the river, and suddenly everyone wanted one. Because nothing makes people want a tiny frog like being told a serene rodent controls all the tiny frogs. This is called scarcity. I invented it by having too much. I don't fully understand it. I just noticed a line formed, and lines make people nervous, and nervous people buy frogs. Capy has seen this before. Capy is unmoved.
By afternoon, the line stretched past 6 empty stands and around the bend. Ducks, joggers, a wedding party, 3 confused tourists, and 1 man who just wanted to feel part of something. Every one of them clutched a single crumpled dollar, and every one of them left holding a tiny enamel frog.
This is exactly the kind of disruptive vertical play I've been pitching for 3 quarters. We take the charm monopoly, we spin it into a subscription, charm of the month, we bundle it with a newsletter, we IPO by autumn. I smelled this synergy from 4 miles away.
Gerald smelled a synergy. Gerald always smells a synergy. It is his only nose. I did not invite him. He arrived with a whiteboard already full. That is not a coincidence. He keeps one preloaded like a fire extinguisher for moments exactly like this.
And I finally get the corner office by the pond. Do you understand? The pond office. I have earned the pond office in my heart. We take your frogs, we take my vision, we take that pond, and we become unstoppable. This is my moment. Do not ruin my moment.
We do not have a pond. He said we will build a pond. I don't want a pond. He says everyone wants a pond, that it's the whole point of everything. I have a river, right there, full of water, free.
A river is not a pond, Capy. A river leaves. A pond stays. A pond is commitment. A pond is brand. A pond has a chair beside it with my name on it. You cannot build an empire on moving water. Ask any goose.
I came to audit the one thing I love, and there are no recurring charges here. It's a single dollar, one time, no trial, no auto-renew, nothing to cancel. It is the cleanest transaction I have ever witnessed, and I would like to frame it and weep gently into a spreadsheet.
Nadia is happy. This is rare. I have never seen a subscription auditor at peace. It's like spotting a comet. Gerald wanted to bundle a newsletter with the frogs. Nadia looked at Gerald like he had proposed a crime.
A newsletter is a foot in the door, and a foot in the door becomes a monthly charge, and a monthly charge becomes a free trial you forgot to cancel in 2019. I will not allow it. This dollar is pure. Keep it pure or answer to me.
Then the caper turned, the way capers do. A car that did not belong on a riverbank pulled up. A briefcase landed on the folding table beside the frogs, and a very serious voice said a very serious word. Acquisition. As if the little enamel sons had suddenly become a hostile takeover target.
A man offered me a lot of money for the whole operation. He said the word acquisition. I said no. He asked why. I said the frogs are happy here. He did not understand. That's okay. Not everyone speaks frog.
So he tried to buy you out at a premium, a legitimate exit, generational wealth, and you turned it down to keep custody of 5,000 enamel amphibians on a folding table. Do you know what a normal person would do? Do you know how exits work?
Yes, I'm looking at all of them. They're panicking. Baxter's counting. Gerald's drawing a pond. Percival's making that face. Reggie respects me now, which frightens me, and Nadia is protecting $1 with her life.
I'm trying to calculate the margin on turning down free money. There's no formula. I checked 3 calculators and a bird. You cannot idle $1 into a river out of kindness. Money is supposed to move. It's supposed to be afraid. Like me.
The riverside vendors got their stands back because Capy sold everything back to them. At $1, same as before. They cried again, but the good kind this time. The empire lasted one afternoon. That felt like the right length for an empire.
And just like that, the great charm monopoly unwound itself as politely as it formed. Stands filled back up. Awnings returned to $3. The line dissolved into ordinary shoppers. The riverbank exhaled. And at the very center of it all sat one folding table, holding one small tray, and one very calm capybara.
And Capy kept exactly 144 frogs. One gross. The number I meant to buy in the first place. I gave the empire away. I kept the frogs I actually wanted. That's the whole story. It took a warehouse to get back to the beginning.
I'm still trying to find the margin on generosity. I've been at it for an hour. It doesn't converge. It doesn't have a decimal. Every time I get close, a frog looks at me and I lose the number entirely. Who priced this?
It doesn't have one. That's what makes it luxurious. This is where a business channel would tell you the moral. There isn't one. There's a folding table, a river, and 144 tiny frogs. Or don't. Capy is unmoved. Capy is holding a frog. Capy needed a hobby.